People say that giving gifts is better than getting them. Well, according to the game of chess, you should be afraid of accepting gifts, especially the Greek gift. So what is the Greek gift sacrifice? It's when you sacrifice your bishop, or sometimes even both of your bishops, in order to checkmate the opponent's king with your queen, or with, the help of your knight and with the rook. So the Greek gift works only when you have a lot of attackers looking at the opponent's king, and your opponent doesn't have a lot of, or just has no defenders of his king. So the Greek gift idea could come out of different openings. The point is that you need to have open diagonals to, sacrifice your bishops. But okay, enough talking, let's look at what this is all about. So in this position, as you can see, Black's king has no defenders. And remember this, in all positions when you have so many attackers pointing out to the opponent's king, as you can see it here, you have a great possibility of attacking the king, or just the possibility to sacrifice pieces, or even of a mating attack. So what is White's first move here? It's actually bishop takes h7. And this is such a satisfying sacrifice, and you're going to see what's the point. Well, Black has two options. Black can either move to h8 or take our bishop. If he takes our bishop right there, the point of Greek gift is to come into action with your queen, because you want to checkmate the opponent's king, and you probably do it with your queen. So you play knight to g5 check. You're not only getting another attacker into the game, you're also, clearing up the diagonal for the queen to come in. And you can see some mating threats right there. So now, if Black goes back, you can see queen to h5. Getting another attacker in, and you're threatening mate in 1 on h7. So if he plays something like g6, of course you just checkmate him. So his only option to, not get checkmated in one move is to play rook to e8. But this is not a problem, because after just a bit precise moves, you can checkmate the opponent's king. Queen takes f7 is the move right there. Black has one square, and you check him again. He only has one square again. You check him there. He goes to f8, and you can probably see what the mate is going to be. Queen to h8. These are the king's only moves, and now we can see checkmate on g7. Even if it wasn't a checkmate immediately, you can see that Black's king is so open that even without the checkmate, this position would be pretty bad. Now, if he doesn't accept our Greek gift, our sacrifice of the bishop, if he goes to this h8 square, which is normally a bad idea, like I said, the move is actually knight to g5, and it's the same idea. In all these Greek gift patterns, you almost always have this knight to g5 and queen to h5 coming in. So this is the idea here again. Now if Black does nothing, you're of course again going to come there with your queen. He can't move the king. Whatever he does, on the next move you're going to play bishop to g6. When the king moves, you're going to checkmate him. So it doesn't really matter if he plays g6, you take it with check, and of course with the checkmate on the next move. And this position here is just lost because of this beautiful sacrifice. So this was a pretty simple example, and I want to show you two more beautiful examples on this topic. So this is another example on Greek gift. You can see that there are open diagonals and a lot of attackers again, and now you even have two bishops attacking the king, which is going to lead to a double bishop sacrifice, which is one of the most satisfying things in chess, I think. You can see that you don't have your knight here on f3, but you have your rook here ready to jump into action, which is very great. So now we see the same pattern again. Bishop takes on h7, and now it's maybe even more clear why Black can't go to this h8 square, because we can just play queen to h5, and again, he can't do anything. Whatever he does, I don't know, bishop to f6 for example, check, he moves and mate. So he has to accept it, he really has to take it. And I'm sure this isn't quite the gift Black wanted to get, but I mean, what can you do? He has to take it. And now what do? We bring our queen into action. This is a typical square for the queen in these Greek gift patterns. He only has one move, king to g8, and now a stunning move, bishop takes g7. Now what is the point? If black does nothing, of course we just checkmate him in one move. So he has to do something. If he takes the bishop, we already saw before that we have our rook here ready to jump into action, so we just play rook to g4 check. And now where can he go? This is the only square here to go, but if he goes there, it's just checkmate in one move. So he can't do that. He has to give up his bishop in order to defend his king, and when we take the bishop on g5, he can go now to this f6 square, and we don't have mate in one, but this is still just losing for black. Because of which move? Please pause the video and try to find the solution here. The correct move is queen to h4, a really nice move. Black can't really escape from the discovered check here. The best move is, I think, king to e7. And now we just take the knight on d5 with a check. He has to move. And this is a completely winning position here for white. It wasn't a mate, but you know, it's still a win. So this counts, of course. And it's a really beautiful sacrifice. So another option here, when we sacrificed our other bishop, is for black to play something like f5 to, you know, escape the checkmate. If we play our queen to h8, he's just going to play king to f7 and escape. So what do we do now? It looks like our attack kinda ended, you know. We can't really bring our rook into the action because of this pawn on f5. But the stunning move here is actually bishop to e5. So now what is the point of this move? We're going back or what? The point is that we're threatening mate in one. And you can see that queen to g6 would be mate in one, because black's king really just doesn't have any squares to go to. And basically the only way to prevent mate is to play rook to f6. Because if he plays rook to f7, mate on h8 arrives, because, you know, king can't go to this f7 square. So the only move is rook to f6. And now what can we do? Sure, this rook blocked the path of our bishop, but now h4 square for the rook is just not attacked by the bishop. So we're threatening to mate him again, and now he has no defense. Whatever he does, it doesn't really matter. We have a very strong attack here. Queen to h8, also queen to h7 is winning. King to f7, rook to h7, king here, and mate right there. So we can see that in all variations here, if he accepts the sacrifice, if he doesn't accept it, whatever he does, we opened up his king, and we have so many attackers in the attack, and he had no defenders. So that's why our Greek sacrifice worked. So the last example for today, the most beautiful one, I think. So let's just take a look at it. Okay, so this is the position here, and black is on move. You can see again that we have two bishops here that are potential attackers of the white's king, and white doesn't have any, you know, defenders of his king. His knight just moved to this d2 square, which probably wasn't the best idea considering what happened later. We can see that here we have our hanging pawns structure, which, let me just erase those arrows. We have the hanging pawns structure, and when we have bishops we want to open the position, especially now when we have some attacking chances, and that's why the correct move here is d4. And now you should probably see our bishops here looking there at this king, and also the queen coming there to h4. And if I was white, to be honest, I would be very scared. But it looks like white wasn't scared, and he just took on d4. And now what do you think happens? White is going to receive a gift, but not from Santa this time. We can see bishop to h2 check, and again, ignoring this sacrifice would result in a terrible loss. After queen to h4, you can see that white again has nothing. Whatever he does, if he tries to defend with knight f3, we just take the knight, and again, this is going to be a checkmate. So he has to accept our sacrifice and take the bishop. And now which move do you play? Queen to h4. It's kind of logical because these are the only like really attacking moves. Everything goes by force and white just has no chance. The only move is king to g1, and which beautiful move do you have to play here? Bishop takes g2. And again, we're threatening mate in 1 on, h1 square. So if you're wondering what happens if white takes the bishop on g2, we still have enough pieces for the attack because white has no defenders and our queen is going to mate to white's king with the help of the rook. And first thing we do, we give him a check for him to just move on this h file, and the next move is rook to d5. A rook lift to the 5th rank, and you can see what's coming, mate in 1. He actually can't stop it, whatever he does. I don't know, queen here, checkmate comes on the next move. So here after bishop takes g2, white can't take the bishop because if he does, it's a forced mate like we saw, and it really looks terrible now for white, but maybe he can hold. He played f3 with the same idea as we saw before, to creating space here for the king to go to. After queen to h1 check, which would be a mistake of course, we would see the move king to f2. The king can escape. So what do we play now? Well, black here played rook f to e8. It's still not the end of the attack, and his idea is basically, if white does something, to play rook to e2, which is a beautiful move, preventing white's king from this f2 square, and on the next move we're going to mate the white's king. So what did white do here? He blocked this file with knight to e4, and now we can see queen to h1 check, king to f2, and now we can actually take on this f1 square with the bishop because he obviously can't recapture because of queen to h2, and we're going to pick up the opponent's queen. So we got the rook here, and even if we didn't have a deadly attack here, this position for white is just not great. So did white have option of, preventing all of this? Well, d4 takes is obviously the end of the game after these sacrifices here. King takes, queen to h4. It's so beautiful to look at it. It's very satisfying. King to g1, bishop takes g2. No, from here on it was just over. The most beautiful one is, I think, when he takes the bishop and we check the king and then mate him with this beautiful rook lift. This would be the most beautiful one for me. So whenever you have two bishops, a bishop pair, looking down this diagonal, and the opponent doesn't have a lot of defenders on this side where the king is, you should be able to start getting ideas of just attacking the opponent's king. And you should remember the pattern, the idea of the Greek gift, because it happens quite a lot and it's really useful to know it. So again, the idea of the Greek gift is to sacrifice the bishop in order to open the opponent's king and just get your pieces into the game, your queen, your knight, your rook here, and just, try to checkmate the opponent's king. Of course you have to calculate it precisely before you do it. There's been a lot of scenarios where players saw the idea of the Greek gift but didn't calculate precisely and they just lost the game. So make sure to calculate it precisely, and if it works, you're going to win this game. So what did we learn today? Giving gifts is better than getting them. Try avoiding gifts, especially if they're not from Santa Claus.